But you know, maybe a couple girls broke that trance of wanting for the guys to choose them, to service them, right? Okay, another thing that happened, and I absolutely am sure this was true in, where am I? St. Louis. As it is in California. And that's just, what a surprise, this batch of kids loves drugs too. And I love drugs. I'm a total drug addict and alcoholic, and I never said no to anything. I mean, I would take pills when I was a teenager that we didn't even know what they were, you know, and that seemed to me as crazy as a god. That somebody would say, I am not sure what this is, but I think it's good. I think it'll do something. It'll change my reality. Well, now what the kids do is they bring prescription drugs from their parents' pharmacy or their medicine kit. And a lot of the kids were diagnosed during this wave of ADD and ADHD, which I totally understand is a reality for a lot of families. But they got onto Adderall and Ritalin at 5, 6, and 7 and 8. And it turns out that when you're a teenager, there is no better study aid than Adderall or Ritalin. And you can get it anywhere. You get it on the internet. You can find you can get it from doctors. And a lot of the parents were then diagnosed because who would have loved a little bit of mild pharmaceutically pure speed? I would have loved it. I love methadone. Methadone when I was using, which is just unbelievable that any human on earth would have ever used it twice, because it's like crushing up Ajax with your credit card and snorting it, but good. You get very stoked and high for a long time, and it's cheap, and you don't have to eat, and you get really thin. And I used to weigh like routinely 25 pounds, 30 pounds more than I do now, which I like. I probably look fabulous. So the kids are going to parties and taking what it puts the M&Ms, you know, but they're uppers and they're downers and they're in-betweeners and then there's of course the ecstasy, but you don't put that in the farm bowls. But then ecstasy comes up. And when I was in my 20s, ecstasy was, in early 30s, I got sober when I was 32 in 86. But ecstasy was almost exclusively for the Robert Bly men's groups that were forming. And they were taking ecstasy because it was helping people break through their reservations about intimacy, with, especially men with men, in all of our schools. Like if we met here on Monday and we went to a junior high school, anywhere that we could walk to, we could score anything. Anything. And we could score ecstasy, we could score some Adderall, we score some Ritalin, and we get just unbelievable bills. We get it in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I don't know if you call middle schools here. But we get dopes that was like the stuff that we called Maui back in the day, you know, in the 60s. And it's pretty routine now, and it's one-hit dope. Do you think they each have one hit? No, and it's like acid. They love acid. They love OxyContin. And that started, I remember, maybe 14 years ago, you started reading about it at the time. It was called Appalachian heroin, and it was for very severe pain that you might get from cancer. Only the junkies, of course, discovered if you crushed it out, you could get off on it like you did with shooting heroin, and it trickled down, and pretty soon we could go get it in the middle school. This is true. And I unfortunately never had a chance to do either ecstasy or OxyContin. And I always joke with my sponsors that I probably don't even have a problem with either of them. But in 86 when I quit, no one was doing Oxy or ecstasy. I'm sure I would be fine with them. And the kids drink, and a lot of us drank. And a lot of us still drink, and a lot of us hit a bottom. So the next question that came up was that no one has ever saved another alcoholic. No one has ever gotten an alcoholic to quit or a drug addict to quit. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe you'll be the first. But there's a program called Lamott that I really recommend, because the truth is that we're powerless over what other people do. So in our lives, you might be able to look at a person and think that they're going to hit some sort of bottom. And that when they hit a bottom, the willingness will come from the pain. and they'll be able to reach out to someone who might help them stay sober. So how do you let a 15-year-old go, who you know you can't save, hit a bottom? Because a lot of people die in their bottoms. It's just the nature of the beast. And I didn't know the answer. I just know that the kids in Marin County are dying of, they go crazy on ecstasy and they die of Oxycontin overdoses. And 3 weeks ago I went to church, but I went for a hike first near Mill Valley, if you've ever heard of that. And I walked by the ocean, and when I got there, there were 150 people. It was dogs and helicopters and just kids and her best friend. So this girl's best friend, who had gone missing in the middle of the night, but they were all drunk. There were like 5 other girls there. That it made sense for them to party near the cliffs of the ocean, and no, everyone had passed out, and so no one noticed that this girl had gone for a walk in the middle of the night. And we talked to the girls that were the best friends, and they said, oh, we were drinking, we probably shouldn't have done that by the cliffs. Do your parents know you were here? Yeah. They didn't know that they all brought pints and half pints. And the girl's body washed up that afternoon by Muir Beach, which is like right in front of Muir Woods, and she was 17 and college-bound and stunningly beautiful. 2 of Sam's friends have died in the year above him of Oxycontin overdoses. The most golden child, the one that all the teachers thought would put our county on the map, is at Napa State probably for life because of his long-term mixing of ecstasy and Oxycontin, and then they drink. They're teenagers, and because there's this thing inside us that wants to fly. And I think that's what happened to the girl on the cliffs. And this guy is in Napa, he's blown his brains out, his mind. My older brother had a lot of friends who lost their minds, and we had a boat between us in the 60s. A lot of kids had died backpacking. One of them ran into the surf at the Great Highway in San Francisco on LSD, wanting to fly, wanting to get out of these bodies. So